Hello everyone, this is Vishnu from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, and TOC Tech Talk concept is on meeting the expectations from brain-computer interfaces, which are also known as PCI, and TOC stands for Theory of Computations. Let's get started. So, why do we even need PCIs, the brain controller control interfaces? So, a person with a disability can use a PCI to perform tasks independently without any other human intervention in the process. So let's take an example of a disabled person who uses a wheelchair. So uh, with the help of a PCI, there will be no person now who will be pushing the wheelchair, where the wheelchair will be equipped with motors and the person himself can command with the help of his brain and worst case scenarios if person cannot even use his hands, then this is something which comes in handy, BCI. So a disabled person can use this controller to uh, make other machines work, where those machines will be equipped with a receiver and all the tasks or all the commands which are generated by a person will be transmitted and received by those machines, and then those machines will perform activities as ordered. So, as I've taken the example of wheelchair, by activating motors or lifting the chair using hydraulics will be done by the patient or the one who is disabled. So, how can we achieve this? So, brain signals can be translated into digital signals, which can which are collected by electrodes, which are affixed on the to the person's scalp, where this can also be improved by just placing a device in front of the forehead, because those technologies do exist and they are available, but not for the masses, but for the research facilities and research purposes only, uh, where there are devices which don't use any kind of electrodes, but just they capture the brainwave signals and they translate those signals into electrical signals, and those electrical signals are then uh, transferred via air medium, and the receiver, the machine which is equipped with that kind of receiver will receive the data and the task will be performed by those machines. So these digital signals are subsequently transmitted to the receiver device and which processes them. And with the use of a BCI, a game was developed to be played in this research article. In this research article, there's a game called Control the Sheep or Run for Sheep. So in this game, there are 10 sheep, 3 dogs, and one person. The person itself is a player who is playing the game with the help of this BCI. So the main task is to command dogs in such a way that all sheep will get into their uh, safe house or the place where they usually sleep. So the player's task is to control the dogs or uh, assign dogs uh, so that they can control the herd. So there's a condition where the player needs to uh, click a mouse button before activating the BCI and collect the data. And it's also stated that the more time the player invests, the more accurate the operation will be. But there's another loophole that the sheeps which are present won't be stationary. They will be updating their positions from with respect to time, and the decisions are to be made by the player. And the player needs to click the mouse button, uh, think about it, and think about placing the dog where it should be, and release the mouse button as soon as possible. Um, which um, and that is how this game is being played. And moving on, what makes this a practical method of capturing brain signals? So the experiment was carried out in such a way that two sorts of technologies were built to accomplish the identical job as indicated in the research. So they have used BCI and ASI, where ASI uses speech and BCI uses brain waves. So for ASI, the player needs to speak to the system, where it also dependent on the microphone that the person is using. And since ASI is a text-based system, the players who are there were um, exhausted. No, they're exhausted, and they didn't feel like playing. They are not exhausted, and they started not to play the game because it's very easy to play, and they already played the game, so the interest is no more. And PCI, in other hand, where for brain control, brain capturing, where the player needs to use their brain to actually think of what should happen, so which involved work, where speaking is something which is done subconsciously or consciously, and it's a very easy uh, way of transferring data from one point to another point. So the people or the players who all have used ASI to play the game but have lost their interest, but PCI used players were able to play the game for longer time, but they were really exhausted because they were using their energy. And but and the very same time they have reported that PCI is more fun than ASI. So ASI was incredibly simple, to which it annoyed the applicants who used it, where PCI on the other hand was a little difficult, allowing participants to expend all their energy on the game, which was ultimately entertaining. And and they've also mentioned a few more parameters uh, which are on how long they did, and the research was also conducted in such a way that uh, the player will play the game and the review is taken, and then the players are again allowed to play the game, so thus not taking the average of what one have played the game. And there were also three sectors where three types or three categories, we can say, where one category of people don't even know the game or they haven't played the game. Second type of people, they did experience PCI for a short term, and the third category people did experience ASI. So, with the help of these three types of people, the research has also been done, and data is being collected. Um, and based on that, the results were PCI was so exhaustive, but fun at the very same time, where ASI was very simple, it wasn't exhaustive, and it was boring as well. So PCI, what makes it practical? Uh, we can also consider uh, case, a test case where the person may not be able to speak. That is, that person's disability and cannot move. The person cannot move fingers or can't even walk. So then, in such cases, uh, brain capturing devices like these will come in handy because PCI can also be used for worst case scenarios. But ASI has a limit where a person cannot speak, then it's the dead end for ASI, which where ASI cannot be used. So this is what all makes PCI a practical application for uh, uh, controlling objects and helping the disabled. So, thank you.